What is going on, guys? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. And on today's episode, we are going to be rebuilding the 1986 Eltigre Eltigre engine, which is right here. And the engine is ready to go back into it pretty much. You know, I got a few things to fix on it. Before I want to put the engine back in, I want to make sure all the tie rods and stuff are good while I have the engine out, because it is very hard to adjust that stuff while the engine is in, because the engine pretty much covers it all. I did paint the frame, but I want to give that a few more coats just to ensure that it's not ever going to rust, because there is a big channel frame on here that goes through the whole sled, because the belly pan is like plastic. Anyways, we're going to get to rebuilding this thing. Putting all new pistons on it. One cylinder jug, which is what the cylinder rides in, was good. The other one was just totally shot, all scored. I probably could have got it bored out and redone by a machine shop, but I got a used one pulled off a good running sled for 80 bucks, so that's much cheaper than getting it done by a machine shop, so I have no problem with that. Probably also would have to get oversized pistons for it, which, you know, probably would have given me a little bit more power, but you know, it's not really worth it for the amount of money that I would have had to spend on it. So anyway, we're gonna get to rebuilding this engine, and you guys know my original plan was to pull the clutch so I could split this block in half. You can see it splits right here the whole way around. So I pull this whole top end up, pull the crankshaft, just strip it completely down. But we're not going to be able to do that because I can't get this clutch off. I've tried all the I've tried Comet clutch pullers. I've made my own pullers, you can see here. And I've tried heat, PB blaster, pneumatic impact gun, electric impact gun. I cannot get this thing to budge. So we're just going to have to let it here and hope that this crank seal does not go bad, because if it does, we're going to be trying to pull this clutch on the sled, which there is an access hole for it, so worst comes to worst, we could probably get it off if we really tried. Got like a 3/4 impact gun, but I'm not too worried about it, so just going to leave it. It's not worth my time trying to get it off. Just put a new crank seal on it, and don't really need to have the whole motor torn apart to put a crank seal in. So anyways, you can see I got it split here. Goes up and down. So what I need to do here is, according to this manual, which we are going to build this engine off the manual, so we don't have any issues with it, and nothing's, you know, not built right in it, unless it's my error. But we're going to be following all the steps in the manual. So putting this engine back together, we're going to have to it says to put a little bit of silicone right in between here. So I'm going to be using black RTV. Not going to be putting too much in, just a little bit to get it to seal. And I believe this black stuff is rated up to 500 degrees. I could be wrong, but I do know that I think it's oil resistant. That's why it's black instead of red. I think the red stuff is not oil resistant. I'm not too sure what happens if you use the red stuff. I believe it's probably going to disintegrate or just not work that well. But anyway, we're going to have to kind of split this up with hand and just put a thin layer of silicone in there, and hopefully it seals. So let's get right to it. Alright, so we got it all on. We're going to let this cure overnight. Just put the bolts in loose, and then we'll crank them down and torque them to spec tomorrow. And then, because I believe that's what the RTV says on the instructions, to let it sit like that, because that way it'll cure better. And then we'll crank it down tomorrow, come out here tomorrow and torque it down to spec and all that. and we're going to clean this whole block up. Alright guys, so I just wanted to show you, right now I am actually cleaning the block up. I'm using a my brass wire wheel here. If you use a steel wire wheel, it will like kind of dig into the block, because you know, it's much harder than brass, and brass actually does a nice job. Here you can see I did use some brass, the brass wire wheel, and I'm just cleaning all this dirt out with a paper towel. I actually found that, like, paper towel works better than a rag for some reason, but you can see nice sealed seam there, and I'll show you the other side that I'm pretty much done with. Here you guys can see I'm pretty much done with this side. There's a little bit of like dirt down in like the edges there, but overall it is a million times better than it was before. And you can kind of just see the job that like the brass wire wheel was doing. You can see there's a little bit, you know, there's still, you can see where I was going over it, but you know, it makes it a lot of more shinier than it was. So that is looking really good, and I cannot wait to get this thing all done and put back in the sled and stuff. And yeah. Guys, so I got the crank seal on. I put grease all on both parts of it, on the outside and on the inside, to help it slide in. That's what it says to do in the service manual as well. So I use that, and then I use a big 41mm butt wheel socket and put it on like that, and then hammered it on with a dead blow hammer. And then you can see that is in good. It is in pretty flush. It's in actually just like maybe a like 1/64 in there, just barely recessed in there. But anyway, that is in. I also have got the inside of the crankcase cleaned out. As I said, I did that when I cleaned the block. I got these new gaskets on for the cylinder jugs. So now we are able to put the pistons in and cylinder jugs in, and we'll put you guys on time lapse for that. I got the one piston on. Let's see, it's not going anywhere. I got both Circlips in, and I'm just gonna leave it like that for now, and I possibly will be back out tonight to work on it, but right now I gotta go do schoolwork, unfortunately. But these stupid teachers, let me tell you, just getting in the way of my engine rebuilding. So I'm gonna try not to get this gasket too full of assembly lube, because if we get it all full of moisture and stuff, it probably won't seal that good. But anyway, hopefully we'll be back out here tonight to install the other piston and possibly even the cylinder jug, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so we're back out here, and just remember, one thing I forgot to tell you guys is when you're installing these pistons, look whether or not you're putting your old pistons back in and you just want to put new gaskets in, or you're putting new pistons in like I am. There is arrows under here, and you can see right there's a little arrow, and you want that facing towards the exhaust side of yours engine, which is the opposite side of the carburetors. So the exhaust port side is right over on this side because you got the oil injection pump here. So this is the carburetor side, and the exhaust port is this side with the serial number on it. So you want your arrows facing that way, or else your engine will not run right because the rings are not at the proper position. The gaps aren't, so your engine won't be running right if you have it the other way. Luckily, this piston is on the proper way. I got lucky here. So this piston, we just got to get this one on properly. And it turns out, I thought I had some more clips, but apparently I do not. So I'm gonna have to order some unless I find them. So we'll see, but we'll at least get this side on. Alright guys, so you can see I got the 1 cylinder jug on, And the reason I'm showing you now is because this one, you know, I gotta wait for the proper Circlips. But I did have to take this gasket off, and according to the manual, it says put some silicone sealer on it, so I did. And put the cylinder jug on, and I just have the nuts and washers on it. And then about to put I put the O-rings on. Just gotta do a little bit more finessing with them. But anyway, I'm about to put the head on, and before I do that, I gotta get a pick and pull all of these little O-rings off. Now, you know, they probably are fine, but I got new ones, so why would I put the old ones on? So I gotta sit here with a pick and pull all 8 of them off for this side, and put brand new fresh ones on. So it seals very good. So put you guys back up on time lapse. Just wanted to show you that, and we'll get this thing on there. And we're not gonna torque it until we get the other side on, just because I want to just do it all at one time. So all this side is pretty much done as far as putting the cylinder jug on. You can see I got these 2 studs to put nuts on, but these are they're pretty much just hand tightened. I just drove them down with the impact. I didn't give it any other dugas, but just drove them down so they're, just tight enough. But then we're gonna come by with the torque wrench and torque them. Don't worry, they are not anywhere close. The head studs are supposed to be torqued to 22 foot-pounds. They were nowhere close to that. They were probably maybe 5 foot-pounds or so. But they are nowhere close to what they are supposed to be. So we're going to be torquing them once I put it all together. But I'm just going to put the spark plug in here. This motor takes a BR10ES NGK. This spark plug is pretty much brand new. But I'm just going to put it in there so we don't get any dirt in it down there, because we do not want that. But as you can see, let me get you guys a light. You can see the piston is indeed in there. I'm going to be taking the spark plug or the carburetor boot off, because you can see there's a little bit of dust in there, but I don't want that getting in my engine. But you can see it is pretty nice in there, so everything is looking good. So we just got to wait on our new Circlips. So I'm going to go inside and order them right now, but this will be the end of however many parts this is. But this will be the end of this video, and we'll be finishing this engine up in the next part.